I'll introduce our panelists. To my immediate right, we have the writer and creator of Being Human, Toby Whithouse. Next, playing Annie, the ghost trying to figure out why she hasn't crossed over, Lenora Cridlow. Next to her, George, the werewolf of Brighton. Vampire, trying to deny who he is, Aidan Turner. I'll start by asking you, Toby, about how you came up with this series. We were talking yesterday, and I thought it was pretty interesting that initially this wasn't intended to be any kind of a supernatural science fiction show. So why don't you tell the audience about
I was approached by a TV company in the UK who wanted to do a drama series, what they called a non-genre specific drama series, about a group of college graduates who decided to buy a house together. They pitched this idea to me, and I thought that was probably the dullest idea I'd ever heard in my life. And I was on the verge of turning it down when, and I promise you it doesn't normally happen like this, ideas for 3 characters just dropped one by one into my mind, completely fully formed, for Mitchell, George and Annie. They were at this point still completely human. Annie was an agoraphobic, Mitchell was a recovering sex addict, and George was someone who had anger issues and liked to kind of very kind of anally retentive character. And we kind of started developing this, and we were getting nowhere with it. And so we decided to have one last meeting, and then if nothing came of that, we just call it a day. And it struck me in this meeting that George, the way that he suppresses his anger all the time, is kind of like a werewolf. And so I said, well, we could always make George a werewolf, because if nothing else, it would give me a story to it. My producers who listened to this, they didn't call security, and it's fine stuff. And then it seemed like the kind of natural progression would be that, well, actually Mitchell's quite like a vampire, and when you think about it, Annie being rooted to the house is quite like a ghost. And so suddenly by the end of this meeting, I was writing a show about a werewolf, a vampire and a ghost sharing a house. But it hadn't started like that. As I said, initially it had just been a human house share. But because it's such a ridiculous idea, the first version I wrote was essentially a sitcom. And I felt like I had to get it kind of out of my system that way. So I wrote it, and we all looked at it and thought it was rubbish. So I started again, and this time I pretended in my mind I was writing a low-budget American independent film. Because then that would kind of give me kind of I could expand the story and tonally and so on. So and then that became the pilot script, and there we are.
I was wondering if the actors could just talk briefly about what it was like for each of you when you were approached to do this series, what your initial reaction was, and what drew you into the project.
Well, I personally thought it sounded terrible. The concept sounded a bit tacky, and my agent said, give it a read. And then after reading it, I thought, this is genius. I want to get involved 100%. And then, yeah, you just know straight away that how special it is and how well written the characters are, and it's not a massive send up like spoof supernatural. It's really rooted in humanity, and that's what really connected me as an actor, because you get the root in the naturalism of it is so special, and the truth behind the characters is so special that is what you want to do as an actor. You want to play these parts, and these people who are struggling with life, and that appealed to me a lot, the drama. Thank you very much. I just want to say thank you for the Hershey's Kisses candy bouquets. It's great. Thanks a lot. There's 2 of them each. You're spoiling us. Thank you.
I think for me, it's a bit like my first reaction was, it's sounded ridiculous. It really did sound a werewolf, a ghost, and a vampire sheriff flat in Bristol. I don't know, it's a hard sell.
Are you from Bristol?
I am! Woo! Nothing against Bristol.
Bristol rocks.
Bristol rocks.
No one else has heard of it. But...
Yeah, we love it. But yeah, I think the pull for me was the roundedness of the characters, and just the supernatural aspect of it just was a really fresh take on some very human, very sort of everyday issues that everybody I know and everybody in my life could relate to and tap into, and it was just I just think then the concept became, of course, you put a ghost, a vampire, and a werewolf, and a flat in Bristol, and you've got a series. It just makes sense now, but yeah, it was definitely the writing which was the first pull.
It's weird. It's like I remember getting the call as well from my agent and nearly hanging up the phone because it's like it just shouldn't work. It shouldn't make sense, you know. And but as these guys said, it's more than a supernatural show.